Hi everyone, I'm Nathan and welcome to another YouTube video. Today we're going to be playing Esper Control and I have a very special guest today. This is Curtis Nauer with the SpikeFeed podcast. How you doing, Curtis?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm ready to play some Esper Control. If you guys haven't checked out the SpikeFeed podcast, I highly recommend that you do. It's at www.spikefeed.com. You can see Curtis's Twitter information right there below his picture. And Curtis is kind of known as a bit of a control expert. Is that right?
I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I play Control quite a bit. I've played Control in Modern most of the time. It's either been Control or Storm. And I played Control way back at GP Hoth in Lincoln. Gosh, what was that, like 2 or 3 years ago? And have kind of followed the deck through. And I played Control this last PTQ season, a blue-white tap-out kind of build. But this is obviously a much different build, right?
Yeah. We're gonna be playing Esper, and we really don't want to tap out on our turn ever.
Ever.
I mean, it may happen, but that's definitely not what that is not what this deck is trying to do.
Indeed. And you know, I think there's about 3 different ways you can go with the blue-white shell. You can go with a sorcery speed, tap out, very planeswalker, discard spell heavy build. You can do an instant speed kind of build. The old versions of that in the early days of Modern played with like Teferi and Mystical Teachings and Draw New Lich Lord. There's one. You don't see that often. And then you have the kind of blue-white Restoration Angel, Snapcaster, kind of a blade deck that doesn't necessarily play with swords. Some of them do, some of them don't. But yeah, this is way much more in the instant speed category, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think with the reprint of Polluted Delta, you know, I think it obviously improves Esper's mana base a lot and enables it to just be a lot more consistent and not take so much damage from its mana. But you know, you start looking at the cards that you want to build around in Esper Charm. They don't get as much spot removal, say, as blue, white, red, or you don't typically see that. But if you look at a card like Esper Charm, that's a card that you want to build around. That's an instant speed draw too. You know, I think that sort of just kind of drives the deck, starts to drive the deck in that direction. And Esper Charm is, you know, on the surface it's kind of like, oh, it's instant speed draw too. That seems fine. But you know, there are times, you know, when you're casting Esper Charm, or sometimes when you even have 2 and you kind of realize, you're like, wait a second, I can just make my opponent discard his hand. And so it really fits that the control shell really well.
Right, and I'd say versus blue, white, red, you know, the Esper build is trying to create more 2-for-1s, right? The spot removal is built upon, you know, Supreme Verdict more so than Lightning Bolt. So you're trying to do removal in mass versus 1-for-1 and kind of getting these small incremental, you know, damages. The flip side of that coin is, you know, blue, white, red can just flip on the switch and go into kill mode very quickly. Whereas Esper builds, regardless of what style, sorcery or instant speed, take quite a bit of time to decide to win the game, right? It could take several turns of draw go to get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, blue, white, red it's a control deck. I say control with double quotes because it's almost more like a control deck in Burn Deck's Clothing or something like that. Like Esper can't turn the corner and burn you out. Esper has to really be committed to that long game. And you know, as you know, it's interesting because people ran Sphinx's Revelation in blue, white, red control, and it was fine. And I ran it in blue, white, red control, but I felt like I was never casting it for more than like 2 or 3 cards. And I think when you look at cards like Esper Charm and just the fact that Esper is really truly a control deck, you need to run a lot more card draw so that you find a lot more answers. But that coincidentally, I think, makes it a much better Sphinx's Revelation deck than something like blue, white, red, because you're guaranteed to hit all of your land drops and you're trying to take the game as long as you possibly can. Like I said, there is no, you know, turning the corner. So you're just sort of living within that realm of pure control deck, taking the game long, good with Sphinx's Revelation, all of that stuff.
Right, and you said you played this deck earlier. What's the problematic matchup?
The matchup that I'm actually worried, I feel like the most about is I'm a little worried about Burn, but I think that actually Esper Charm is going to help us. Now, Burn is running Treasure Cruise, so that's kind of it makes the value I see in Esper maybe a little less strong. But if you're making a Burn opponent discard 2 cards, that's pretty huge.
Right, and
go ahead.
I was going to say, the 4 of Spell Snare can actually come in quite handy against them. They do have obviously a lot of 1-mana burn spells, but there's also quite a few, like Searing Blaze, this kind of thing. The Eidolon is a 2-mana spell. So there's a lot of things that you can kind of grab onto with the Spell Snare. But yeah, dude, I got to be honest with you. The card that I'm most excited to play with is Dig Through Time. I have yet to cast that in Modern.
Man,
and so
I cast it earlier, and when the deck is, if you survive to the late game with this deck and you start finding your digs, it kind of feels, it's almost ridiculous. I was playing against somebody and taking some damage from his creatures, and I forget exactly what turn it was, but I was like, Dig Through Time, and I was like, oh, there's my Supreme Verdict, and there's another Dig Through Time. Why not? So I was able to cast Supreme Verdict, buy myself more time, but then I was able to cast the other Dig Through Time, and just kind of like, I had so much mana at that point, I was just kind of able to selectively pick what I wanted to delve away. And it I don't want to say it's a win more card, but it definitely feels like it helps you maintain that like controlled out lock.
It's basically the sleeper hold of the deck is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Fantastic.
So I do want to get to playing, but I want to run through the deck really quick. So we have 4 Path to Exile, which that's one of the best removal spells in Modern, and I see no reason not to run 4. Coincidentally, that's why we're not running Mana Leak, mainly because, well, primarily I feel like Mana Leak, if you're trying to make the game go long, you definitely want Mana Leaks early, but you're also sort of like taking the game to a state in which Mana Leak isn't good. So we're trying to do this without Mana Leaks. So we have a couple of remans. Mainly, they're good in matchups against control where we want to bring back our own spells. There's also really good against all the delve cards running around. We're running 4 Spell Snare, not just because it's a relevant card in Modern, but we don't have as much early turn interaction as, say, a deck like Blue-White Red. So it's really important to interact as much as we can in the early game. That way we can get to our big spells like our Cryptic Commands and Supreme Verdicts, stuff like that. We're running 2 Disfigures. Disfigure is... a lot of things have 2 toughness, and right now obviously that spell is going to be really good against all of the Delver decks running around. And the fact that it's only 1 mana as opposed to 2 mana, something like Smother, it makes it easier to play around Spell Pierce, and it makes it easier to play around Spell Snare. I said before, we have a couple of remans, 2 Snapcaster Mages. The deck has a lot of card draw, so we should be able to get by with less. Plus, they don't, it's not ideal to wrath away your own creatures, so running less snaps is kind of, so we're taking that into account. We got our three Think Twice, and this is, it's not that it's a replacement for Mana Leak, but if they don't do anything on turn 2 and we don't have something to Spell Snare, then we're probably going to be firing off a Think Twice. We have a couple of go ahead.
I was going to say, that's the Think Twice is the card that I've got the most interest in to see how it performs versus Mana Leak. Obviously, like the way you feel about Geist of St. Trapped is the way I feel about Mana Leak.
Oh,
so,
I see.
Yeah, I'm very, very interested to see how well that swap out works.
Well,
so
there's no reason we can't play a game and then make a change.
Yeah, exactly. But plan on me mentioning it, a lot over the course of the game. Because if Think Twice performs well, I think it's going to be great, right? So,
right. Cool. So we have one that detects few win conditions along with Celestial Colonnade. We have White Sun Zenith. Again, like I said, Celestial Colonnade. I guess that's primarily the win conditions.
Right.
Esper Charm is a really interesting card. It actually can kill an Eidolon of the Great Revel, kind of as an interesting aside. We're primarily going to be using it to obviously either draw cards or in some cases, depending what our hand looks like, if we have a couple of counter spells and a Snapcaster Mage, it might just be right to go ahead and make our opponent discard 2. Wraths, we have 3 Supreme Verdicts. 3 might be one too many. I'm really not sure. But I feel like with Blue Red Delver being the #1 deck, it's not going to hurt to have extra Supreme Verdicts. And then we're topping off the curve here with 3 dig through time.
And let's not forget cryptic commands, right?
Oh yeah, I just breezed over those. And of course, like the probably
most obvious card, right?
You could probably say like the centerpiece of the deck, cryptic command. Just what does this spell not do?
It solves problems. That's what it does.
When I was testing the deck earlier, somebody had a Buseju out. They played it tapped, and I actually just bounced it back to their hand, drew a card, and like they actually never got to like do anything with it. They replayed it again, and I think I like snap cryptic it, or I don't know. It was kind of funny. Just it really does just solve problems and it's answers to things. Okay, so in the sideboard, we have Thoughtseize. We're gonna want to bring these in against combo matchups, other control matchups, stuff like that. Stony Silence is primarily for Affinity, Celestial Purge for anything where there's any problematic black or red permanents. Disenchant, it's kind of like a catch-all for any enchantments or artifacts. Obviously, we'd also bring that in against Affinity. Timely Reinforcements, we'd probably bring that in, I'm assuming, in like a matchup against Zoo, but you're really looking forward in something like the Burn matchup. We have an Utter End, and this is another card where Curtis was like, "Are you sure? I kind of want to play Detention Sphere." So we're gonna give Utter End a try. And then Knight of Souls Betrayal. This I actually kind of want to give. I wasn't gonna play this card, but I want to give a buddy of mine named Scott Wassmer a little bit of credit because he said, "Hey, this card is actually good against a couple of the decks in the modern meta." And if you think about it, if you can resolve one of these against Blue Red Delver, then they're probably just not gonna be able to play any creatures anymore. I would say the same is true probably, against Affinity. It just sort of locks the game, and it says, well, I might not be able to win just yet, but you're not going to be able to either.
It's a nice lock piece, I think.
Yeah. We have a Singleton Wrath of God, and that's really, if we're in any matchup where we feel like we really need more sweepers, but it's also for Throne the Last Troll. We really don't have a good way to interact with him. This gives us that. And then something that might throw a few people off is Bribery. And Bribery is mainly for a Tron matchup, and specifically like green-red Tron. We could probably bring it in against and actually maybe this isn't true. I was going to say we could probably bring it in against one of those like Goryo Vengeance decks, but they actually probably run so many big creatures that they'd probably have it in their hand and it might not be very good. But mainly it's for red-green Tron. That way we can get rid of their Emrakul, because if the game goes long, which it will, they're eventually just going to be able to tutor for Emrakul or draw Emrakul, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it.
Conversely, if we're able to resolve the bribery, there's nothing they can do about it, right? So
right,
that's the plan.
That's the plan. They can't interact at instant speed. They'll just watch us take their Emrakul and probably cry and be like, "Who runs that card?" All right. So
wait, on Moto, someone will chat and disapprove of our cards whenever we're beating them with them. That's shocking. I can't imagine that happening.
You know what? Most people in my experience actually, they're just kind of quiet. I was in the practice room the other day, and I was actually play testing blue, white, red Kiki combo, and this guy was like, "I'm not going to wait for you to go through your combo, jerk," or something like that. And I was like, okay. I was like waiting for him to concede. But he like never did, and so like I don't know what his deal was. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and try to jump into a game here. We got Esper Control selected as our deck. We're gonna do. Go ahead.
I thought you just clicked on Esper Geist.
I did. That's just like one of those Freudian slips or whatever. All right, let's see here. All right, we got Modern selected, and we're going to jump into this queue. Hopefully it won't take very long for somebody to jump in. And as I've said before in my videos, guys, I do apologize. I used to use a different type of recording software that let me pause so you didn't have to wait, and I changed it. But as it looks like you're not having to wait anyway. Okay, so we won the die roll. Curtis, I think that means we want to play, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Let me do something real quick here with the...
formats that I've chosen to draw. I think Rise of the Eldrazi sealed. Maybe that was the only one.
So we won. Let's take a look at our opening 7. This doesn't seem terrible. We have a removal spell. We can play our Colonnade turn 1 and then have up Spell Snare and then just kind of march along into a Supreme Verdict.
Mm-hmm.
This seems
We
like
definitely want to dodge, some kind of combo matchup here. Like one spell snare isn't fantastic against combo, but outside of that, like if this is a creature deck, then we're in really good shape.
regardless, I don't think we
Absolute
can
keep.
mulligan. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
absolute keep.
So we're keeping and let our opponent decide whether they're going to mulligan. We're going to lead with our colonnade, and we'll just F6 to pass the turn. And we're going to F6 again because we can't even do anything.
Perhaps it is burn.
Perhaps it is. It is burn.
What did it reveal? I didn't see. Or remand.
Yeah. Here, let me... So this is their graveyard at the top, our graveyard there, and then in case this happens again, I can pull our reveal up here. But I'm not sure that we're going to need it because I think what we're probably going to do is we'll play a Flooded Strand, and then we'll let the Goblin Guide trigger resolve, and then we'll path to exile Goblin Guide, and we can hold up. If they play something with 2 mana, we can fetch an island out with Flooded Strand. Is that how we want to do that?
Absolutely. I would say we're actually incentivized to fetch up a basic or 2 anyway, just in case there is the outside chance that he is playing Blood Moon right off the bat. It's highly unlikely, but possible.
Possible. So we're going to pass turn here. So they're going to attack, Goblin Guide trigger hits the stack, we'll let the trigger resolve, puts an island into our hand, not bad.
So I would actually go get a Plains, path it.
That's actually what I was going to say. Just waiting for our opponent to pass priority. As soon as we get it back, we're going to crack this Flooded Strand for a Plains and path Goblin Guide. Not sure what he's thinking about.
Yeah, it's interesting. He might just be lagging.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, they must really be thinking hard about, and then like I get a little message. It's like so-and-so is disconnected. Okay, no, so there we go. So we're going to crack this Flooded Strand. And get ourselves a Plains. And go ahead and path the old Goblin Guide. I think we're going to counter an Eidolon. I don't know. Let's see here.
That'll be pretty hot. That'll be pretty hot.
I hate that card. I want nothing more than to counter Eidolon with Great Revel with Spell Snare. Hate's a strong word, but it's not
I strongly dislike it. I think it's the fun police. Like, it just makes the way the game plays out completely different. In Legacy, it's super obnoxious.
Yeah, I feel like Burn was already... Like, Burn was like tier... Oh, it's Treasure Cruise Burn. Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
This is a feel-good moment right here.
It is. That's what you get for playing that card.
Okay.
This is interesting. We have an Esper Charm. Do we draw step? I guess we don't do anything. Actually, I guess what we do is we could take 2 from our Godless Shrine and have Esper Charm up to either make him discard at the end of his turn, or we could draw. What do you think?
Here's honestly what I would do is I would actually play the Godless Shrine tapped, plan to remand his next play, depending on the sequencing.
Sure.
And then, Esper Charm, depending on what happens next, because he's going to draw into 6 cards, right? Mm-hmm. So the chances of him discarding, land and, Hell's Thunder or something are pretty high. I would prefer to save it until, we can really wreck him.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll play this tapped, we'll hold up remand and pass the turn back. This is why you're here, Curtis.
Woo! I also think that there's potential here for us to bait him into, a pretty nasty Supreme Verdict, because he might play 2 creatures, right?
Very true.
But we might also be able to remand a Treasure Cruise here, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, depending on what he does. So if he just straight up bolts us right here, we let that happen.
No, he's just going to pass.
Weird.
Probably, I think we just play the Flooded Strand. It puts a fetch land into our graveyard, and we're not going to be, we don't have the mana to do something like remand and Esper Charm anyway. It's going to be one or the other.
Right.
So we'll play that and pass back.
I mean, that he's doing nothing and we're at 17 is a very, very good sign. He might just be flooded out. Okay, so let's let that happen.
Yeah.
Feels like he's trying to set up a treasure cruise here.
Yeah, and now that I'm kind of seeing the matchup, I think it's real important when we do draw these remands in a matchup like this to hold them for something like Treasure Cruise. That way we can keep it from regassing up. Man, the fact he's doing nothing is crazy. So I guess we just get a Hollowed Fountain with this Flooded Strand. We have a Drowned Catacomb, which is going to give us double black, and we're going to have plenty of white and plenty of blue.
Yeah.
We do have this Esper Charm. Just hold it.
So let's see. He would discard down to 4. I mean, what would be nice is if we could play it and have Remand backup, which would happen next turn, correct? So I would not do anything.
Okay. Probably...
Cryptic Command would be a very, very good draw. I would actually just not fetch anymore if we could help it.
Okay. Yeah, we are down to 13. So we'll play this Drowned Catacomb.
And then if he burns at end step, then we can basically Esper Charm him on his draw step. And then he'll discard everything but the Treasure Cruise, right?
Yeah, so I think we just have to take the Skull Crack.
Right. And then we'll hopefully remand the Treasure Cruise. That's the goal.
Let it happen?
Yeah, I if we remand it, he'll just play it again.
Yeah. I was thinking more let it happen like that. I didn't know if we were going to remand cantrip into something else, but...
So now the question is, do we Esper Charm to draw or Esper Charm to make him discard? I'm inclined to have draw as our mode at end step.
I think I'm fine with that too.
That's fine.
Okay, we're at 5. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw 2. Oops, I gotta tap that differently. Blue.
Okay.
So there's a cryptic command, but we still have this Goblin Guide to worry about.
So we can Wrath and have Spell Snare up, right?
Well, we can we can Wrath and have Remand or Spell Snare.
Yeah.
So just play this island in Wrath?
Yeah, you have to. You have to because you can't let him hit and then...
so we'll keep up Celestial, Colonnade, and an island. Can we do that? Yeah. Blue here and then any color here. I feel like we're... okay, he passed. I do sort of feel like we're dead, but...
It definitely feels that way.
I mean, there's no point to remand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just dead.
We're just dead. All right, it's time to bring in some timely reinforcements.
Yeah. Okay, so bring these guys in.
And Purge.
Yep. Celestial Purge. Probably don't want Thoughtseize.
No.
Disenchant kills Eidolon, but that's probably not really... doesn't really matter. Obviously, the Spell Snares are really good. Maybe the...
I think you reduce at least one verdict, maybe 2.
I think...
I mean, my inclination, and I know this is probably incorrect, is to cut one dig, just because we don't need that many late game cards, and Sphinx
That's
in
true.
this matchup, and Sphinx's Rev is just way too important to us.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get to a point to cast it even for like 3 or 4, that can really help us stabilize.
And he's main decking Skullcrack, so we're always going to want to have, you know, at least mana apparent whenever we're revving
Hmm.
to rep that we have Spell Snare. He did see one out of us, so it's worth thinking about,
Okay.
thinking twice about. Am I right?
Yeah, you are. That's correct. um, I want to say Cryptic Command, but maybe that's incorrect. That's one of our best spells, and it counters a burn spell. Uh, but it is also kind of like late. But we did
Yeah.
have a lot of mana at that point. Um, do we just want to cut White Sun Zenith?
I mean that's our ability to win the game out of nowhere. Maybe it's just right to cut another verdict. I mean,
Okay.
we only saw a Goblin Guide, right? We didn't see anything else, so that's a guess. But I think, especially with timely reinforcements and purge, like if Goblin Guide is our only problem and Eidolon, I don't know. This is a really tough. Maybe the answer is cutting uh, the White Sun Zenith or Cryptic Command or a Dig. I know these are a lot of options, but um, I we did we see 3 creatures from him that whole time, and it was a lengthy game. So
Yeah.
it's hard to tell exactly what kind of build he's operating on. I mean, if I were him, I don't know that I would play Eidolon of the Great Revel post board, but it depends on what he's got.
I'm fine with this.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. We will play first. I want to keep that.
Yeah, absolutely. When we have 2 ambush vipers in this hand, so I
Yeah.
think it's great.
All right, so we're going to keep. What are we going to fetch for?
I think we have to fetch for Hallowed Fountain right off the bat, and then,
And then
maybe after we draw another land, we can talk about what else we need to do. Are we getting Goblin Guided?
I think when you play burn, you just get Goblin Guys in your opener. That's, I think, how the deck works.
Let's see. What do we get here?
Let the trick resolve its path. So that's
Okay, that's a
good.
very good sign.
Probably means we don't want to fetch though,
Right.
because we do want to draw that card. So, all right, we got the path. Play out this flooded strand.
Yeah, and I feel like if we have to, just search for plains and island, that's very okay with the hand that we have.
We definitely don't want to take 3 to put a Hallowed Fountain in play.
Why did he fetch pre-combat? What in the world?
Because he's going to play.
Another Goblin Guide. Okay.
I was going to say he was going to play that. Maybe they don't play that anymore, but that creature with Unearth. Okay, let's see. So it reveals a Watery Grave, which he gave us. And the second one reveals an Esper Charm. So I think we have to shuffle away that Esper Charm because we should pass something here.
Yeah, I either path or go ahead and use the Snapcaster as an ambush viper if you think we're going to do nothing else, because he's not going to play into Spell Snare,
Well,
right?
I think the reason he probably, well, obviously doesn't have the mana now, but the reason I guess I like path is because that also lets us fetch, like, crack one of the flooded strands for a dual land, and the next turn we could, in theory, we'd have to shock ourselves, so maybe we don't want to do that, but we technically could have Snap Path up at that point if we really wanted it. Whereas
Right,
if
but
we
we'll still have Snap Path though, because we have 2 Snapcasters. So
No, yeah, fair enough.
what I like the idea of just using it to eliminate one, and if he wants to absorb like a burn spell, which he likely has, and it's not going to be Searing Blaze, it's going to be Lightning Bolt. If he wants to shoot our Snapcaster Mage, then we're net gaining 1 life, right? Because that's a Lightning Bolt that's not going to our dome.
Fair enough. Okay, so you want to do Plains and Island,
And then just play a Snapcaster. And if he
Alright.
burns it, then likely we're gaining life out of that. Now, this would be different if he had 2 mana open. What is our opponent doing?
I mean, I've noticed sometimes when like when I'm talking out matches, sometimes I think the opponents get like, oh, why is this guy taking so long? And they don't know that I'm on the other end, like, explaining things. Or he's double queuing, but it doesn't seem like he's taking that long.
It's a brave soul that's double queuing in version 4. That's commitment.
I don't think they make a computer with enough RAM to do that, actually.
It's NASA. That's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, you have to be like NASA or MIT. Then you can double queue. All right, so we'll go to blocks and block 1. $14. You know, I guess.
Okay, interesting.
I guess maybe one of the other, and maybe I guess it would have been the same either way actually. But is, I was gonna say just that we killed one and now we don't have to shock ourselves if we don't want to. But I guess we would have had to the other way anyway. It's kind of 6 and 1. So anyway,
I think you're just perceiving the lost value of the Snapcaster in that spot.
I am. So polluted Delta or watery grave tap?
I'm inclined to go watery grave tapped.
Okay.
And then we have
spell snare.
Spell snare, yeah, which is likely where our sequencing is going to be anyway.
Probably.
And this way we can have Cryptic Command up next turn. I mean, there is a scenario that we remand. I don't think it's likely, but
reveals a timely reinforcements.
Okay. So now this brings up an interesting question. Do we?
We have to keep the spell snare up to stop Skullcrack if we're going to try to resolve that spell, I think.
Yeah. And so do we path the Goblin Guide now, or do we want the 2 guys? And then we have Remand up right now in case he tries to. Can he Treasure Cruise? No, he can't, right? Something else would have to go to the graveyard.
I mean, so we're going to be able to.
So the question is, so do we path the Goblin Guide and then leave up Spell Snare?
We don't want to path the Goblin Guide because we're 14 all right now. So we actually want to take 2 and then play the Polluted Delta, get an island, and play timely reinforcements with Spell Snare back up so we can't Skullcrack us in response.
Right.
So we take the 2.
Dude, you and I were like of one mind there. That was epic.
Both of us were just trying to like, I can't make the mind go to the words. So we'll draw this timely reinforcements and we'll play our Polluted Delta, but obviously we won't crack it unless we need it. So I think we just go jam this timely.
Absolutely. I mean, he's almost definitely got a Skullcrack that he's holding up.
I would be shocked. Oh, you know what?
Is he going to bolt himself?
How much is Flames of the Blood Hand? That's 3.
I have no idea. I don't know what that card is.
It is like Skullcrack, but well, we got guys.
Did he bolt himself? No, he fetched and shocked himself. That's what happened.
Did I miss something?
Yeah, he fetched and shocked himself. He was at 13.
But we did not gain 6.
Right. He did that in response to us casting timely reinforcement.
Yeah, I was totally missing that. Okay. Well, I mean, the 3 guys aren't terrible. I think that's one of his higher damage spells. I think we should.
Yeah, we have to snare it.
Yeah. I would guess that this guy, he's not a bad burn player if he did the fetch shock line. I don't think that's.
I find that burn players on Magic Online tend to be much better burn players than burn players in real life that you run into at FNM.
I would actually agree with you. Oh, he's cruising.
That's a good setup by him for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we. I don't know if maybe we could have played that different. Maybe we didn't have to go so early for the timely. I don't know. But well, then I mean, if we want to get full value, we need the creatures. But maybe it's fine. It would have been fine to just try to get the life gain.
Yeah, we also have to reach a point in the game where we're the ones setting the tone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Treasure Cruise, it's a tough card to beat. But
1, 2, 3. We don't. I was trying to think of like Snap Timely, but he has 2 mana up, and I'm sure he's got a. And we'd have to shock ourselves. So I guess just play this Watery Grave tapped.
Right.
We're at 11. I can't say I would want to take the damages.
And anything that deals us 2 damage, we're not going to counter. Anything that's 3 or above, we are. I mean, that's just how it's got to be.
I mean, we also do have Snap, Spell Snare.
Okay, I didn't expect that. That's fine.
What does this trigger reveal? Reveals a thing twice. Okay, so we have a path. We also have a Snapcaster Mage, and we also have guys. I mean, if we're gonna path one, we should path Monastery Swiftspear because he can just grow that, and like a block with Snap would be bad.
I think what we should do is set up our blockers, all 3 on Goblin Guide, and then if he attempts to cast anything, then that's when we'll path the Swiftspear.
Seems good.
Right, so kind of force him to have some action.
Right.
And we really need to be in a position where we're 2-for-1ing him, and to some degree.
So it looks like he passed priority back to us, so I guess he's not going to be doing anything with this Monastery Swiftspear. Blocks have happened. Now we have priority, so he didn't do anything at that point. So
I feel like we should path it, but
okay. I mean, not pathing it gives us Cryptic, but even if we path it, we still have Snap Snare as an option.
Right.
So we'll path here. And he's the burn deck, and he has 5 cards, and we have 3.
Right. I mean, I think this is just an indication of how strong Treasure Cruise is in this format. Yeah. I mean, that has completely turned the game into his favor, right?
It definitely has. So we don't need to do anything. There's our Think Twice, so we're just going to pass the turn.
And we brought in 2 timely reinforcements, correct?
We did.
Yeah. I just passed the turn. Leave the soldier back. Put him on guard duty.
Another Swiftspear.
Okay.
Do we snap path? Obviously we want to wait till. I guess. Oh, it looks like he just has 6 because as soon as we went to blocks, we got priority. So we can snap path. We can snap path, and if we snap path, we still have a remand up if he tries to cruise.
I mean, the question is, do you want to try and snap back timely reinforcements? Obviously, we won't get guys, but is that 6 life worth trying to get?
I think I would like to draw 2 cards.
Okay, do it.
Do we want to block or use our?
So what you could do is, I would definitely chump for starters, whether you path them or not. I made a mistake
earlier when I said we got priority right away. We just have priority because it's declared blockers. He hasn't actually decided if he's going to do anything yet.
You know what? Snap Path seems fine because honestly, if we live in a world where he whiffs, I mean, he is at 10 life.
Well, we're
So,
blocking, so let's see what he does.
okay.
Because now he's got priority, so if he's going to do anything, he's basically got to do it now. So he didn't. So we'll just pass and then think twice.
Yeah.
Cryptic if it becomes really relevant.
What I would prefer to do, and this is just putting this out here, is actually try to go on the beatdowns. Because we would be a 4-turn clock, right? So if you Snap Path him, and then we keep our soldier, then we have Cryptic and Remand, and then you can think twice once after you Snap Path, right?
I like that idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and Snapcaster Mage. Get the path.
I mean, there is a chance that we get just straight up burnout right here, but I don't think so. I mean, we just have to hope at some level that his hand is not that stacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if he has 4 burn spells right now, we're in very, very, very bad shape. Okay.
Attack, and then player Flutter Strand pass turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, playing against Burn with the Esper deck is not easy.
In any blue-black variant on control, it's tougher because, you know, the nature of black is you're just going to lose some life here and there. Now, we're not main decking Thoughtseize, so that's obviously a bit of a difference. All right, helping us out.
We're winning. We're really winning. He's 5. I think he's going to try to cruise or something. Just, well, maybe not. I'm assuming just because he's trying to.
He's thinning his deck is what I believe is happening.
Either and or. Oh, there's the cruise.
So go ahead and remand this thing.
Yeah.
No soup for you.
We could Cryptic. I don't know if we want to.
I would say yes.
We do have
Cryptic.
another. We're short on. We're a little short on white mana, but we do have another island for Flutter Strand in the list.
Yeah, I would counter it.
Okay.
And then counter draw, and again, if he has a multitude of burn spells in his hands, we just have to understand that that's going to cost us the game. But I don't think we can just randomly take 2 from Goblin Guide. There we go.
I'm not gonna complain about that.
Yeah.
I think we're fine to just play the Colonnade and get that out of the way. That tap
Right.
land. And then we're gonna attack again. He's at 2.
I think we let the skull crack happen. Wait, no.
Oh, I already.
Yeah, that's fine. We just have to counter something, and we probably wanted it to be on his turn anyway.
Probably. There's even if he has 2 bolts in his hand, he still can't kill us. So I think we just counter this.
Yeah, I would counter and then bounce one of his shock lands.
Yeah.
Just as.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense because then he can't shock it to put it back in play. At first I was gonna be like, I don't know if we want to do that because he could tap it in response and then replay it and get, but I'm not even sure if he played it. He didn't play a land this turn. So we do want to return the.
It's either that or draw a card, and then we could draw into a spell snare. Like that would be the ideal draw into. So maybe that's a better consideration. I mean, for the lulls, it would be funnier to bounce a shock land.
Let's see. We're at 7, so he can't kill us with anything he has in his hand. And if we there is, I guess, the possibility that he has another land in his hand, so he taps which one we bounce, and then he has.
Yeah, I would draw a card. and just
That may not be very likely, but
we're in worst case scenario mode, right?
yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That's spicy.
So
Yeah, remand that, and that's game.
all the answers and a Sphinx's revelation.
I would actually not show that to him if you were thinking of.
No.
Okay.
No. I was gonna just throw out this Mystigate and then just attack.
All right.
All right, we lived. So, any changes?
I don't think so. I mean, the only consideration would be adding an additional Supreme Verdict over a dig or an Esper Charm, maybe. I don't know. Like, I just based upon what we saw out of Cryptic Command that game, I just can't justify cutting it at all.
No, I mean I don't know. You know, again, I don't think we want to. I'm not opposed to another Supreme Verdict, but I don't necessarily think that. You know, are we sure we need White Sun Zenith? I mean, he's like, we didn't do anything to himself, and through his own lands, he was already at 12.
Yeah, you're probably right there. So let's go ahead and just ditch that
and get the Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, just in case.
I mean, it's an answer. Then again, I mean, White Sun Zenith blocks a bunch of his dudes. And I don't know.
Well, let's give it a shot. Let's suit up this.
All right.
I mean, the difficult thing will be this will be the first time he's on the play.
Yeah, and of course he's going to go Goblin Guide attack because that's what they do.
Right. It could be worse. I'll take that.
Yeah, I think we have a Disfigure. We have some early interaction. I think I'm fine with that. Keep.
Every time.
Here it comes, Goblin Guide. Or Monastery Whisperer. No. Every game, 3 for 3. He reveals a Dig Through Time.
Oh, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I don't really want that card. So, I hate to get just a swamp with Polluted Delta, but...
I think you have to. I know that's not really the coolest thing, but... I mean, if we don't draw any other blue mana, like, we're dead. So, shocking ourselves hurts, but what else can we really do?
Yeah, I know. And what I'm saying is I think I would rather just get the Watery Grave and then... here's the thing. Do we want to take... Let's see what this trigger reveals here.
For sure.
So...
Hey!
So yeah, that was... Obviously, we wanted to do that.
So I'd take the 2 and then hope to spell snare something because you're going to disfigure it. You can disfigure it during your main phase, and that's fine, right? Either way, you're taking 2. Whether it's from your own...
Whether it's from my land or whether it's from...
Correct.
The Goblin Guide.
Because this has to retrieve blue mana.
Yeah.
All right, so we can't do anything about that.
Let that resolve, and then we'll just get probably a Watery Grave.
Right.
I think it's... Yeah. I wish we had another blue source. Actually, we probably want a Hollowed Fountain.
Well, hold on.
No,
Are you gonna?
We don't, because we have that Disfigure.
Okay. Well, keep in mind he did miss a land drop, so.
There's another Spell Snare, but we don't. It's either going to be Disfigure or that. So, I think we'll play the Godless Shrine tapped.
Right.
I feel like we are at 12 very early.
Yeah. The saving grace of this whole situation is that he has 1 land, right? So.
So far. Oh yeah, we'd have to discard probably
one of the digs.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for a second I thought there was a Think Twice in her hand, and I was going to say that, but it was the other Dig Through Time.
All right, this is a good sign.
Let that trigger resolve. Got a Hollowed Fountain. So
Yay.
I guess we Disfigure, right?
For sure. And if he plays something, we'll just have to take our lumps.
And if he plays an Eidolon, then we're just sad.
Yeah.
He's pretty mana screwed.
Tilted. And now we have Remand, which is about as good as Remand gets. So
yeah, so we'll play the Hollow Fountain tapped.
Correct.
And
come on, Sphinx's Revelation.
We might be able to claw back some life with that Sphinx's Revelation. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yay. All right. Water Grave tapped.
Correct. I think our friend is a sad panda at the moment.
Do we remand that?
I would, yeah. Right now, we're just about buying time. Ooh. That was a spicy draw. Okay, so now we're in really good shape.
Yeah.
Now, whenever he plays a Swift Spear again, I would actually counter bounce one of his lands. I mean, Burn is probably the worst deck to do that against, but still. Okay. I think I'd still counterbounce the Steam Vents.
Okay.
We just want to keep him off tempo as long as possible.
Oh, no, there's not. Okay. Doesn't really matter what land.
I think our friend's a sad panda at the moment.
I mean, he can still crack this Wooded Foothills and replay this Swift Spear, but he's only going to get in for one. And he doesn't even want to, it looks like.
No, we countered the Swift Spear, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not...
You thought we were remanding it.
I was still on remand. Yeah.
So here's the thing. So I don't think we want a Sphinx's Refer 2, but it is a consideration right here because we know he can skull crack it, and we really need to hit another land drop, right? But I'm still inclined to wait. Okay. We probably need to speed up the clock too, don't we?
Oh yeah, there is 454. Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean he's not going to just be able to sit back and hold up Skullcrack mana, and if he doesn't commit anything to the board, then that's fine with us, I think. Like if he wants to kill us, he's probably going to have to play something. He just shocked himself, so maybe this can be like an Eidolon. Yeah, we'll spell snare that straight away. And so do we want an Esper Charm to draw to? I think we do.
I would, yeah. We need to hit more land drops.
There's
like so.
The land drops. So I guess we'll just play the Hallowed Fountain.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like the deltas fuel dig through time, but I think we're really trying to resolve a Sphinx's Revelation. Play a polluted delta. So at some point here we can Revelate, and because he's only on 2 lands, we have a spell snare up so that we can Revelate and counter a Skullcrack.
Right. I think, at least playing one more polluted delta.
We could Revelate now in response to that.
I think that is exactly what you should do.
So I'm going to crack this polluted delta for an
island. Yeah.
If you don't like casting Sphinx's Revelation, then...
against a burn deck, no less.
Yeah. X is 4, alright. We are going to have to go to discard. That was one thing to consider. But... what are we going to get rid of here?
Flooded Strand, polluted delta.
Yeah, those hurt us. And then one more. The Verdict?
You could get rid of the planes.
Okay.
That's fine. We'll get hit by a Swift Spear here.
guy.
He needs. He didn't play this. Oh, that's right. I keep thinking we remanded that.
Well, we did get a Mystic Gate, but obviously going to have to take a little pain off of him. Mystic Gate or Colonnade?
Colonnade. We need the pressure.
Yeah,
and so I would path it, of course, on his turn.
I'm going to get rid of this Flooded Strand.
Okay. And then the plan should be to dig.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to let the trigger resolve. Is it another land? And then we'll go ahead and path. The problem is just going to be winning with the time we have. I mean, we're definitely in control and ahead in this game, but... so we're going to Spell Snare that, and we'll dig. Alright, so now we're going to dig through time. We're going to get rid of the Polluted Delta, the... Polluted Delta, Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, Flooded Strand. We need to be one more.
There's a Plains you missed.
Sweet, okay.
So I would grab Colonnade and the Rev.
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts as well. Still got a ton of cards in hand. I'm going to play a Colonnade and just pass, I guess.
Yeah, we can't quite hit yet. Man, if we only had Whites on Zenith.
God, I know, right? I already thought that as well. I'm going to play another Colonnade.
Okay, so we're one turn away, right? From colonnading and having Cryptic up.
I'm going to counter that unless you...
I totally think you should. We can double Cryptic at this point, so...
It's just gonna flat out be hard to like navigate Moto in time to beat him, I think. Cryptic? No, yes.
I would take it, and Cryptic is next play. He might think he has an opening. No. Perhaps he's leaving Skullcrack up.
Alright, we're just gonna play this island. Let's see. Activate a Colonnade. Just trying to go quickly. Beat. Combust. So there's really nothing we can do about that. We could like bounce. I think we just let it happen.
Sure.
I mean, we're like, if we win this match, it would be like a miracle just because of the time. I'm gonna counter that. Unless you have any.
Agreed. Do it. I'm going to let you navigate from here, so because time is such a consideration.
I'm just trying to like play a Colonnade. I gotta make sure I didn't activate the wrong Colonnade. Activate a Colonnade. 3. Just go faster. This is going to be Snap Remand. Snap. Oop. Target Remand. No, he can't do it again, not yet. There's nothing we could have done about that.
No. Well, double Colonnade time.
Do we have enough mana for it?
Yeah.
I think we will die if we do that, though. We don't have...
Just do one Colonnade, yeah. I mean, either way, we got 30 seconds, so...
Yeah.
mean, the correct play is to colonnade and then Sphinx's Rev, right?
Okay. Use the mana, use the mana. Oh, God. I'm just discarding as quickly as I can. Anything, just pass. Oh, man, we're not going to get there. There's no possible way that we can activate 2 colonnades and kill him.
We might be dead anyway, right? We might.
No, we're at 8. We're not dead. We technically have this game won.
Ugh. That's brutal.
I mean, well, I don't know. He could go like...
He could have triple bolt. Yeah.
But... Oh, no. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Worth a shot.
That's just... I mean, running out of time like that, like, I've gotten better at it when I'm doing it solo, but it used to happen to me a lot more when you're talking and explaining and, like, trying to, like, kind of think about also, like, am I making content that people can learn from and all that? It definitely takes more time than just playing Magic.
Oh, yeah, for sure, dude. That end of gameplay, I don't know how sloppy we got there towards the end. When time becomes a consideration, it's such a difficult thing to really think through the late game plays. But no, I'd really like to rewatch that to see. I felt like revving there at the end was correct, especially since we had no counterspells. I mean, it's feasible that we could have, held up Think Twice in hopes of grabbing a counterspell.
No, I mean, I think that was okay. I mean, the moment you said that, you were like, I think the play, and that was kind of good, right? Like, I liked how, like, I was just being the physical brawn of making Moto, like, do the thing, and you were, like, being the thinker. And when you were like, activate Colonnade and Rev, I was like, yeah, like, do that, gain 4 life, or however much it was. That seems like exactly the thing to do. That'll put us at 8. So. And
then he asked to have triple bolt, and again, that illustrates how good Treasure Cruise is in those kinds of strategies. Because I mean, we don't know for sure that that's what drew him in to the triple lightning bolt. Obviously, he probably had at least 1 or 2 before that, but man, it made a huge difference, right? Ancestral Recall is good.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you feel about the numbers that we've been working with? We did cast the Dig Through Time. Did we cast it once or twice? I think it was just once.
I like the Dig Through Time. Supreme Verdict was kind of underwhelming in that matchup, but again, that's a very matchup sensitive thing. I want to get to a point where we are using White Sun Zenith to win the game. That's a thing that we just haven't had an opportunity to do yet, and I don't know if it's too slow or it just hasn't happened. Obviously that's very matchup dependent.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's hard to say. I'm undecided, like, with White Suns and the Burn matchup. On the one hand, it can potentially give you a lot of blockers for the incidental guys that they get through as the game goes on, and it can also close the game out. So maybe it's fine. So I don't know. I did definitely feel like when you made that comment, you're like, "Well, she had White Sun Zenith." I was also like, "So do I." I was already thinking the same thing.
We were like digging for it, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Okay, so do we want to change anything or keep rolling?
I think keep rolling. Again, Think Twice. I've got my eye on it.
Right on.
But other than that, man, I'm pretty happy with the performance. I think we need to see something that's not mono red, which might be an unlikely thing. I'm going to step away for one quick second if that's fine.
Go for it. All right, guys. I hope you are all enjoying having Curtis Nauer from SpikeFeed. Again, like I said before, if you haven't checked out the podcast, please do. They do a very good job. They have a great format. I know a lot of podcasts sometimes they're great and I like them, but sometimes the fact that they're 2 hours, I feel like it's a little bit more of an effort to get through. I really like the SpikeFeed because it comes out on Monday, and I kind of get my Monday commute start to listening to some SpikeFeed, and I generally play Modern on Mondays as well, so I kind of have this like Magic routine that I like, where I get on the bus, listen to SpikeFeed, go play Modern, and I'm sure that helps. So yeah, check those guys out. I really like what they do there.